My girlfriend has been extensively trauma dumping on me. But her stories are starting to contradict themselves, and now I can't help but start to suspect that she is either lying or something else is up. I, 26M, am currently in a 3-year relationship with Kathy, 24F. I'll spare you all the details about her personality, but I love her dearly. I fully intend to marry her when the time is right for both of us. On our first date, Kathy warned me that she had PTSD from past trauma. Some of the things that she has told me have been so devastating that they made me physically ill. As we talked and ate, she told me that she lost her V card to her stepfather when she was asleep. I, a grown man, started crying in the middle of the restaurant. She assured me that she was in therapy and was working through her issues. As time has gone on, more and more details about her past have come up. I am incredibly happy that she is willing to share all of this with me because I want to support her, but there have been so many contradictions that I'm confused. I don't even know how to bring them up. Here are several of the ones that make the least sense. She told me that her biological father kicked her so hard when she was 7 that it broke her wrist in 2 places. Later, when we were taking a bike ride together, she said, "I've never broken a bone and don't intend to now." She told me that her mother used to put a belt, a stick, and a wrench on the table and tell her to choose. She said she picked the wrench because fudge her, that's why. This is a scene from Good Will Hunting, told almost ad verbatim. She has no marks or scars from this. She told me that after her stepfather abused her for several months, she lived for her grandparents for the rest of high school. Later, she contradicted herself and said she was homeless and couch surfing for her last 2 years of high school. She told me that she dropped out of high school because she had to escape from a gang who was trying to make her work as an intercourse worker, but when I met her she was a student at a reputable university. She never went to community college. I don't think it's even possible to get into a school like that with nothing more than a GED. She told me that to cope with her past trauma, she did almost every pill and was barely sober for more than a week for 2 years. Later, when we smoked weed together, she got super high and said she had never tripped harder. I don't think someone who has done LSD and mushrooms would say that after smoking pot. It doesn't make sense. I feel like a monster for asking, was she even abused? I could understand 1 or 2 contradictions based on some inaccurate memories, but really? Why the movie scene monologue? Why does everything point to her having a privileged upbringing with the brand new Range Rover she bought as a freshman and fancy college degree with no debt? I don't know how to bring this up or how to make sense of any of this. I can't bring the issue up because if she was abused, it would crush her to be doubted. Commenter. Compulsive liar, by the sounds of it. Knew a few in college with the exact same kind of track record. The girl in the dorm room next to me only got caught when an RA called her mom to say the girl needed more support given the recent death of her uncle, and mom said never had an uncle. All of a sudden about 20 stories started to unravel. Update. Hi again everybody. A lot of people have expressed interest in an update to my situation, and since the situation is finally resolved, I figured I would take a minute to write out what happened. Admittedly, this actually ended last week, and, spoiler alert, I spent the following several days moving out. I haven't had a chance to update. A whole lot of thoughts on the matter have been stewing, so I'm afraid this is going to be long. For those of you who just want to know what happened and move on. She lied. We broke up. She tried to save our relationship by lying. I have ghosted her. For everyone else. After reading through nearly every single response to my post, I came to 2 conclusions. 1, my girlfriend was lying about, at the very least, the extent of her abuse, and, 2, she was only going to continue escalating these lies unless I put a stop to it. Many people told me both in comments and DMs that if I were to directly confront her about my suspicions, she would immediately gaslight me, or deflect by calling me a monster for not believing her. I agreed this was likely, and so I went the route of stalking her on social media. I'm not proud of it, but I spent well over 10 hours stalking her on Facebook. I hadn't logged into Facebook since early in our relationship, but she seemed to be using it fairly often. Through my search, I discovered 2 things that she couldn't possibly explain away. She has another Facebook she uses for close friends and family. The Facebook page she has me on is reserved for friends from online games, giveaways, and so on. This all came to light when I started messaging her Facebook friends. I sent them a copy/pasted message. Hey, I'm Clara's boyfriend. I know this is out of the blue, but would you mind if I asked you a question? I wanted to get her a gift and was hoping for a bit of advice. The majority of the people didn't respond. Fair enough. I assume many of the messages got automatically filtered. Of those who did respond, the vast majority didn't really know Clara, or only knew her online or didn't remember her at all. It was bizarre. Where were her college friends? Her not having high school friends would be right in line with what she told me before, but I know she has friends from college because she hangs out with them regularly, or at least she did until we went into lockdown. Eventually, I figured it out. She had another Facebook. It was a total stroke of luck that led me to it. She happened to have one single friend who was on both of her Facebook pages, and when stalking her friend's friends, I found my girlfriend's second page. On her real Facebook page, everything she told me completely unraveled. Dozens of high school friends. Pictures from her high school days, ranging from class trips to dressing room pictures of her trying on new clothes to her sweet 16. Pictures with her parents with whom she seemed very happy to be having her picture taken. Pictures of her standing in front of a very large, very non-ghetto suburban house. Then I found the picture of her standing in front of her brand new Range Rover. At this point I had already decided our relationship was over. There's no explaining that. If she had mental illness so severe that she had deluded herself into believing everything she told me, she needed therapy, not a boyfriend. If all of those stories were just plain old lies, I wouldn't even know what to feel. Taking advice from the last post, I decided to ask about the Range Rover. I wanted to expose her and figured it was an innocent enough topic to bring up out of the blue. She was sitting on the couch reading a magazine, and so I walked up and asked her about her car. I said it was really nice, and if she had inherited some money or something, to be able to afford it. She gave me a long theatrical inhale and exhale. She then asked me to promise not to be shocked, but it was Pandora's box. Knowing that she was about to feed me another helping of BS, I told her I wanted to hear it anyway. She covered up the Range Rover purchase by telling me that when she was homeless, she was forced into prostitution by an abusive pimp. She said that with the money she saved by overcharging clients and hiding tips from him, she was eventually able to afford the car. Then she asked if I still loved her despite her past. So that was the end of that. I called her a liar on the spot. Aside from everything else, what really ticked me off about this lie is that street prostitutes don't make nearly enough money in tips to be able to buy an expensive car and pay for a college education. Then I told her that I saw her real Facebook. All of those pictures. For the first time in our relationship, she didn't have an explanation. I started my move out the next morning, the lease be damned, and finally was done with it in 3 days. She has frantically texted me saying she could explain and she was ready to tell me the truth. Yeah, the truth. I'm almost tempted to ask her for it just so I can experience another wild tale, maybe this time it being about her experience with witness protection on the run from the mafia or some other ludicrous story. Thanks again for all of the advice and help everyone. I feel like a total idiot for wasting 3 years of my life with her, but I have high hopes for my future. I'm going to take a break from dating for a while though. Right now I'm staying at a buddy's house who has been nothing short of amazing. She does not know where I am. Commenter. She sounds like a narcissist to be honest. I know someone exactly like this. Also, you called her Kathy in your other post? OP, haha, I just screwed up and thought she was Clara before. It has been 2 weeks. Her real name looks nothing like either. Commenter 2. My boyfriend was in a relationship like this for 5 years, she claimed to be abused and all sorts of stuff that didn't line up over time. She was also very manipulative and demanding of him, which I'd get that was also the case for Op. I asked him the same thing, how did it last so long? Basically I think love bombing in the beginning was the biggest factor, my boyfriend kept thinking it could get better if he fixed himself. She also wore him down with her stories/justifications and blamed him for misunderstandings, so he didn't trust himself and thought poorly of himself, so he got depressed and kinda gave up on life thinking he was so messed up, never questioning her actions.